Groceries cost more. Rent's ridiculous. Everyone's talking about AI taking jobs. Governments are drowning in debt but still acting like the party isn't over. And deep down, you've got this feeling that something is coming. Not tomorrow, not next week, but soon. In this video, I want to show you why 2026 might be the year you've been waiting for financially. Not because it's some magic prophecy year, not because I had a dream or read it on some conspiracy forum, but because of real things already in motion: debt, interest rates, housing, technology, and one of the biggest wealth shifts we're going to see in our lifetime. In my mind, 2024 and 2025 are the setup. 2026 is when what's been building in the background really starts to show up in your everyday life. And depending on what you do between now and then, 2026 can be the year everything feels like it's falling apart. Or the year you finally break through. If you don't want to wait for some future decade to fix your money, stick around. And if you're new here, this is the Daily Rebirth. We talk about money, systems, and how to build a rich life on purpose, not just on vibes. If that sounds like your lane, hit subscribe now so you don't miss what's coming. All right, let's talk about why you're not crazy for feeling like something big is on the way. Right now, there's this quiet pressure building in the background of your life. You might not follow every economic chart, but you can feel it every time you open your banking app. Wages haven't really kept up with the cost of living. Housing looks like it belongs to another universe. Groceries, gas, childcare, everything is heavier than it used to be. Debt, student loans, credit cards, car payments, just feels like part of normal life. We're in this weird moment where you can literally make more money than your parents did at your age and still feel poorer. You can have more tech, more convenience, more apps, and somehow feel less in control. It's like you're running on a treadmill that someone keeps quietly speeding up. And if you've ever thought, something about this doesn't feel sustainable, you're right. It doesn't. It's not just you're bad with money or you're not trying hard enough. There are actual systems and cycles underneath what you're feeling. And that's where 2026 comes in. So why 2026? What's so special about that year? It's not that on January 1st, 2026, a big red button gets pressed. It's that multiple timelines are kind of lining up around that period. You've got debt and interest rates. For years, money was cheap. Low interest rates meant people, companies, and governments could borrow like crazy. Now, a lot of that cheap debt has to be rolled over or dealt with in a higher rate world. Mortgages, corporate loans, government bonds, they don't just disappear. You've got housing. Prices ran way ahead of what most incomes can realistically support. People are stretching to the absolute limit just to get a place while a whole group's completely locked out. You've got technology and AI. Every week there's a new tool, a new model, this changes everything. We play with it for fun, but behind the scenes companies are asking, okay, what does this do to our staffing? What jobs can this replace? Which roles do we not need as many people for? Add governments and politics on top of that. Huge levels of debt, big promises, and bills that don't magically go away. And none of this hits like a jump scare. It creeps. That creep is what we're in right now. The time between the numbers changing and people actually feeling it fully in their daily life. 2024 and 2025 are like the tightening. The rules of money are shifting. The cost of borrowing is different. The job market's adjusting. Opportunities are moving around, but not in obvious ways. By the time we're in 2026, a lot of this won't just be economic news. It'll look like regular personal stuff. Someone can't refinance the way they planned. Someone's job suddenly isn't as safe as they thought. Someone realizes the lifestyle they built only worked in a low-interest world. And at the same time, someone else suddenly has a big opportunity because they spent the last couple of years positioning themselves differently. That's why I'm talking about 2026. Not as a magic year, but as a year where the bill for this era starts to show up in a way people can't ignore. Here's the part most people miss. Which side you're on in 2026 is decided before 2026. There are going to be two types of people. The first group will be reactive. They'll say things like, "Nobody saw this coming. Everything fell apart overnight. I was fine, and then suddenly I couldn't keep up." But if you rewind, it won't really be overnight. The signs were there for years. This group will be scared. They'll slash everything out of panic. They'll blame the government, the rich, the system, their boss, the economy. And honestly, sometimes they'll be right, but they'll still feel powerless. The second group won't have everything figured out either, but they'll be more prepared. They'll feel the same uncertainty you do, but they'll have quietly made moves in 2024 and 25 that give them options in 26. They'll be the ones who aren't buried under as much high-interest debt, aren't locked into a lifestyle that only works if they're earning at max capacity every single month, have skills that are more valuable in an AI-heavy world, not less. Maybe have one or two small, real streams of extra income. Same year, same world, very different experience. So the real question isn't, what is 2026 going to do to me? The real question is, who am I becoming before 2026 gets here? So before you scroll away or move on, seriously, take a second. Because this might be the moment you realize the future isn't just something that happens to you, it's something you build. Let's talk about what you can actually do now. So 2026 is more of a turning point and less of a disaster movie. I'm not going to tell you, here's how to be a millionaire in 6 months. This is about making yourself less fragile and giving yourself more options. The first thing is to clean up the obvious fragility. For most people, that's stuff like high-interest debt that keeps chewing up your cash every month. A lifestyle that only works if everything goes perfectly. No buffer, no margin, no breathing room. You don't have to be completely debt-free by 2026 to be okay. But being less exposed matters a lot. If you've got a bunch of balances at painful interest rates, one of your quiet projects now is, let me stop this from growing and start gently turning it around. Even an extra $50, $100, $200 a month going toward the right debt changes how much control you'll have later. Second, start building what I'll call optionality. That just means give your future self more choices than stay stuck or panic. In real life, that looks like learning skills that still matter when AI becomes normal. Things like problem solving, communication, selling, strategy, or using AI as a tool instead of being replaced by it. Creating one small extra income stream. It doesn't have to be huge. Even a few $100s can change the math. Building an emergency buffer, not because you're expecting disaster, but because you want to be calm when other people are freaking out. Third, pay more attention to where the opportunities are moving. Every time there's stress in the system, there are people who get crushed and people who quietly step into new lanes. You don't need to turn into a full-time trader or chase every coin and stock someone shouts about online. Instead, learn how money moves in a basic, real way. Learn enough that you're not only reacting to headlines or TikTok. The people who do well in 2026 won't be the ones who guess the magic stock. They'll be the ones who were a little more liquid, a little more calm, and a little more informed when everyone else was panicking. And let this be super clear. 2026 is not the end of the world. It's not, if you don't do X, you're doomed. You can either walk into that year on autopilot hoping everything stays the same, or you can walk into it awake, knowing you did what you could with what you had. 2026 can be the year a lot of people finally realize the old game doesn't work for them anymore. Or it can be the year a smaller group of people quietly use that same chaos to build the foundation of their future. And you don't get ready by panicking. You get ready by making boring, consistent moves now. Paying down one credit card. Learning one real, marketable skill. Trying one small income idea. Building 1 month of expenses in cash, then 2, then 3. It's not flashy. It's not viral hack energy, but it's powerful. If this is clicking for you, do me a favor. Hit like so more people can see it and subscribe to the Daily Rebirth if you want more videos like this. Not doom, not hype, but real talk about money and the systems around it. Let's bring this back together. You feel like something is coming because something really is. Money's changing. Work's changing. Housing's changing. Tech's changing. 2024 and 2025 aren't just regular years. They're years where the pressure is building. 2026 isn't a magical door. It's more like a mirror. It's going to reflect back the habits, the choices, the skills, and the preparation you've been building, or not building, before it arrives. So here's what I'd challenge you to do after this video. Pick one area where you're fragile and decide, I'm going to start fixing this. Pick one skill you want to be better at by 2026. Pick one small income idea you're willing to experiment with. Not 10 things. Not a whole new personality, just one in each bucket. Because the version of you standing in 2026 is going to look back at you today and say one of two things. Why didn't you do anything? Or, thank you for starting, even when you weren't sure how it would work out. You can't control the global economy. You can't control elections, interest rates, or housing policy, but you can control how exposed you are and how prepared you are. So when 2026 shows up, and it will, do you want it to feel like the year everything broke for you, or the year you finally broke through? If you want help choosing that second option, make sure you're subscribed to the daily Rebirth before you click away. Because this channel's going to keep talking about this, not to scare you, but to prepare you. So that when that year comes, you're not just surviving it, you're ready to use it. And that might be the rebirth you've been waiting for.